If you've been told that IVF is your only option, but something just doesn't sit right, this is for you. Maybe you've been given a diagnosis or a protocol and you're told that this is your next step. But in your gut, you're wondering, is there something I'm missing? Is this really the only path? And you're not alone. And no, you're not crazy for asking these questions. I'm Jessica Boone. I'm an infertility PA, fertility consultant, and IVF strategist. And I've walked beside hundreds of couples on their family building journey. I've sat in the clinic rooms where emotions are high, as well as low, and answered those questions that just feel like they're too tough to answer. And I've seen how the system can reduce something so deeply personal to a diagnosis or a one-size-fits-all plan. And that's just not fair because this isn't a diagnosis. This is your dream. And you deserve more than a protocol. You deserve clarity, support, and strategy that meets you where you're at based on your unique journey. Here's what I want you to know. So many people jump straight into IVF without really having an understanding or having a kind of full picture. And they're told that it's, the next step, but rarely does anyone's like hit pause and say like, what's really going on here? What does my body need? What might we have missed? And most importantly, is IVF even the right next step for me? And so I want to be really, really clear. I am not anti-IVF. I think IVF is an amazing solution. In fact, I have an entire portion of my business devoted to supporting people through their IVF journey. I walk through with clients through every phase, through the prep, through the egg retrieval and all the monitoring, through the transfer and everything in between. And so I think IVF is wonderful. However, when IVF is the right step, it can be absolutely transformative, but it works best when it's done with intention, not out of desperation. And so the problem is when IVF becomes kind of the default answer instead of a well-informed decision. And that's when people feel overwhelmed, they feel discouraged, they feel kind of stuck or pushed through the process because they don't have a clear understanding. They don't have a solid feeling that they know what's actually going on and what is the right decision for them. So, if you're in that place of uncertainty right now, I want to leave you with this. Here are the three questions that I have every one of my clients discuss with their fertility team before they commit to the IVF process. And so, one is what is the root cause? What is, the real issue here? Do we have a clear understanding of that? Are we just kind of reacting to surface level test results? Do we know what's actually causing our infertility? Not just, we have a low AMH, but what's behind that? We have low semen parameters. What's behind that? Ask the why. Number two, have we ruled out all those reversible factors, all those things that are within our control, like inflammation, hormone imbalances, timing issues? Stress is a huge one, nutrition issues, metabolic issues. All of these things matter and can absolutely impact both our egg quality and our sperm health. And if our body's under kind of this constant state of stress or it doesn't feel like things are in balance, it's not the right environment for a pregnancy to implant. So it's so important that we are looking at these factors too. And number three, and probably most importantly, do I feel informed or am I just overwhelmed? And so this is really important because if you're making decisions from fear or from pressure or from panic, it's okay to pause. And, this pause is strategic. It's not a delay, it's a reset with intention. And so I think this is probably the most important question that you need to ask yourself, not your doctor. I worked with a couple recently who were heading down the IVF path. They were told that they had unexplained infertility, and probably the only way they could get pregnant was with IVF. And so they just didn't feel like that was the right decision for them yet, which is why they found me. When we looked a little deeper, we found kind of two important things going on. One, her thyroid levels were all over the place, not just her TSH, but everything else. And he had a low sperm count. And so These things are things that we can address that are within our control. And so instead of jumping straight into fertility treatments, we hit pause. We took a couple months to focus on what they could actually do to support their fertility as a couple on both sides. And so, we looked at nutrition, lifestyle, targeted supplement support, and really just kind of giving their body a chance and an opportunity to get into the optimal state for both pregnancy and fertility purposes. It really just kind of gave them a chance to reset emotionally and physically. And so, right as they were about to prepare for IVF, they called me and they're like, "You will not believe it. We are waiting for our period, and we just got a positive pregnancy test." And so, you know, and it's not because of really something I did. I provided them the guidance, but they put in so much effort to make this transformation. And so, it wasn't just, the important thing is not just kind of looking at the labs, but looking at the labs and asking why, and putting in the work to make those positive changes. And, they did this. They really gave themselves this new path forward with my guidance and support. It wasn't easy, but it took a lot of intention and effort from both of them. But the important thing, and I think the biggest transformation, is they were no longer overwhelmed and just reacting. They hit pause and they had enough clarity and felt empowered to make informed choices. And that was huge. That was their transformation, and it was incredible. That's why I do the work that I do, because every fertility journey is unique, and you deserve a plan that is built for you. I believe in asking better questions. I believe in giving you space to grieve and learn and move forward from a place of power, not panic. And I'm here to help you hit pause, not on your dreams, but on the overwhelm. If this video spoke to you, I encourage you to subscribe. I'll be sharing, real tools, strategies, and insights from within my IVF support program and everything that I've learned along the way as an infertility PA. And if you want clarity and just kind of getting a better idea of where you stand on your journey, I encourage you to take the Fertility Clarity Quiz. You can find it in the link below. It's free, takes about 5-8 minutes or so, and it helps you see, or at least will be a good starting point to see what might be missing on your journey so far and what your next steps might be. And even if IVF becomes part of your path, doing this quiz and getting these insights allows you to approach things, with clarity and helps you identify what's within your control to optimize these outcomes. And so be sure to check that out in the link below and just know that you are not alone. If you have questions, please ask. I am an open book and I'm here to support you.